Okay, now so the last part we're going to deal with is the wing. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to get some of your yellow and you want to make sure it's nice and light and watery. Okay, once you've got your nice light watery yellow, you're just going to go over and you're going to paint over the whole wing in that colour. Even those little bits under there. Okay, and then we've got these sort of shadows where we can see the leg and some shadow behind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of black that is nice and watery. And if you mix this up on a scrap of paper or on the edge of your page or something like that, you can also then add a little bit of the yellow into it, because we don't want it to be two completely different tones. We just want to add some shadow in. So then what I'm going to go and do is paint in the shadow of the leg that I see there. And then you can also see the shadow of that leg sort of comes down there as well. I'm going to come in and I'm going to darken those little bits where we can see darker bits of the legs up in a second, but first of all I think it's actually better if you go and get the sort of reddy brown veiny sections of the wings running through first. And I've in fact missed one from this side in my little demo that I was doing before I've come back on camera, so ignore me doing that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our reddy section, do you know, the reddy browny colour. We're going to get some of that, and then we're just going to very lightly start to paint over where we've got all of these veins. So I'm going along the outside edge first, and then towards here at the bottom it sort of fades off, so washing off my brush a little bit and then just using that more faded towards the bottom, and then getting a little bit more of my brown, and I'm just going to work from where we've already been, just going and adding really lightly with the tip of my brush over just to wherever I can see that we had some of these lines. And it doesn't matter if they go a bit runny, a bit faded, just all adds to the effect. Right, I think that's about right. Okay, and then once we've done that, then what we're going to do is we are going to start creating some darker marks within that. So we're going to switch to the darker brown, which is the second one in just there. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit of that darker brown. Again, just make sure your brush is not too wet. And I'm going to start painting along that back edge, overlaying my colours there, and then just going over all of these little lines on the inside. Again, kind of being a little bit looser with this, pressing really lightly and just tracing over with the tip of my paintbrush, not being too particular or too worried about it. Okay, and then the last little bit we need to do is we had that leg on the underside of it. Okay, so we can see some little darker sections within that leg, so I'm just going to get a bit more of my black and I'm just going to go and paint some of those in. So this section round here looks particularly a little bit darker, so I'm going to go in and add some of the darker marks to that leg there. sort of comes down a little bit along that section of the leg, and then this end here looks a little bit darker as well, where it joins up with this shadow. Okay, and then it's simply washing off your paintbrush and wiping off the edge so you don't end up with too much water, and then just going in and lightening up those colours and sort of blending them in a little bit so you don't end up with anything that looks too black, but you can sort of see where the leg of the wasp is. If you go over any of the lines in your thing and you start to lose them, you can quite simply just go back on top and paint those back in so you know that they're there and they haven't gone missing. But once you've done and you've got your leg in, then that is our honeybee completed.